Ever get that feeling that life is kind of just happening to you instead of you being in the driver's seat? Well, today we're going to dig into Jordan Peterson's 12 rules for life. This is a really powerful guide for anyone who's ready to stop drifting and finally take back the controls.
Yeah, it's that exact feeling, right? Like you're just spinning around without a compass. You probably know you need more discipline, but man, where do you even begin? That's what these rules are all about. They give you a solid place to start, a foundation to build on. So, what if you could actually turn all that chaos into order? We're about to break down 12 rules that are basically a blueprint for doing just that. And it all starts with the most important piece of the puzzle, you. Okay, so this first batch of rules, it's all about that classic airline safety advice. Put on your own oxygen mask first. The idea is so simple, but really deep. I mean, how can you expect to fix the world's problems when you haven't even tidied up your own life, right? So rule number one is super simple. Stand up straight with your shoulders back. And this isn't just about faking it till you make it. Peterson points out something fascinating. Our brains are ancient. He talks about lobsters and how the dominant ones stand tall, which floods their system with serotonin. When we stand tall, we're doing the same thing. We're sending a signal to our own brain that says, hey, I'm capable, I'm ready for whatever comes next. Now think about this for a second. We're usually amazing at taking care of our friends, right? We give the best advice, we know exactly what they need to do, but we almost never give ourselves that same level of care. This rule is a challenge. Start treating yourself like you're someone you are genuinely responsible for helping. Powerful stuff. Oh man, this is basically the social media trap in a nutshell, isn't it? When you're constantly comparing yourself to others, you're playing a game you can never, ever win. It just leads to anxiety and envy. But here's the secret. The only competition that matters is you versus the you from yesterday. Are you a little bit better today? That's it. That's where real progress and motivation come from. This quote right here is really the core of Rule 6. It is so tempting to look out at the world and point fingers, right? To see all the flaws in society, in politics, in other people. But Peterson's point is that this is often just a distraction from the real hard work we need to do, which is facing the chaos in our own lives first. Okay, so how do you even start? Look, the key is not to try and fix your entire life in one day. That's overwhelming. Instead, you start with one thing you can actually control. Pinpoint what's not working. Maybe it's as simple as your messy room or a totally out-of-whack schedule. Then, take one tiny action to fix it. Every little win builds on the last, creating momentum, and that's what gives you the strength to take on bigger things. All right, Rule 8, tell the truth. Or, at the very least, don't lie. Think about it. Every single time you tell a lie, even a tiny white lie, you're bending your reality. You're chipping away at your own character. Now, telling the truth, it's often way harder in the moment, but it's the only way to build a real, solid foundation of self-respect. So, once you start getting your own house in order, something cool happens. You'll naturally start to see it ripple out into your relationships. So this next set of rules, it's all about building on that new foundation and really improving how you connect with other people. You know, this is a real tug of war for your future. The people you hang out with will do one of two things. They'll either drag you down into their own mess, or they'll lift you up and help you reach your goals. Rule 3 is crystal clear about this. You have to find people who genuinely want what's best for you, and you need the courage to step away from those who don't. Now, this rule is framed around parenting, but honestly, it applies to everything. Just picture a young plant. If you don't give it a trellis or a stake to guide it, it's just going to grow all over the place, totally chaotic. Discipline and boundaries, they aren't about punishment. They're the structure. They're what allows for strong, healthy growth. And without that structure, respect just can't grow. Okay, here's a tough question, and be honest with yourself. When you're in a conversation, are you really listening, or are you just waiting for your turn to speak? Rule 9 really makes us face that uncomfortable truth. The shift in your mindset is actually pretty simple. Just assume that the person you're talking to knows something that you don't. The moment you do that, everything changes. Conversations stop being a fight to see who's right, and they turn into a real opportunity to learn something new, to actually grow. I mean, how many of our biggest problems, whether it's at work or with our family, just come from simple misunderstandings, from not being clear? Well, that confusion, that's the dragon that Rule 10 teaches us how to take down. It's pretty clear when you look at it this way. On one side, you have vague, fuzzy talk that just leads to confusion and fighting. On the other, you have precision, which brings clarity.
Rule 10 is all about being precise with your words. So instead of saying, oh, things aren't going well, you say exactly what's wrong, because you can't even start to solve a problem until you've defined it clearly.
Okay, so you've started to get a handle on yourself. Your relationships are getting better. So, what's next? This final section is all about taking that newfound strength and using it to find your way in the world, to start tackling those big questions about meaning and purpose. We face this choice literally every single day. Do we go for the easy path, the one with instant rewards and total convenience? Or do we choose the meaningful path, the one that's usually harder and requires sacrifice, but leads to something much deeper, a real long-term sense of purpose? Now, the actual rule is don't bother children when they are skateboarding. And it's a great metaphor. It's about a fundamental truth. We build competence right at the edge of chaos. We only get better when we push ourselves, when we face challenges. If you're always playing it safe, you're not just avoiding failure, you're avoiding growth. After all this really heavy talk about hard work, responsibility, and truth, the final rule is just this beautiful, simple reminder. Don't forget to actually stop and appreciate the little things, those small, amazing moments of joy that pop up every single day. Look, life is absolutely full of struggle. There's no denying that. But that's not the whole story, is it? It's also filled with these incredible moments of grace and beauty and connection. So this last rule isn't about pretending the hard stuff doesn't exist. It's about actively looking for the good stuff to balance it all out. All right. We've gone through all these rules, we've broken them down. So the big question is, where do you even begin? What's your first actual step going to be? See, this path to transforming your life, it's not just a random list of tips. There's an order to it. It all starts with you, with getting your inner world sorted out. From that strength, you can then build better, healthier relationships. And once you have that solid foundation of self and community, that's when you can really go out and chase a life that has real purpose. So look, this isn't just about learning something new, it's an invitation to actually do something. So what's it going to be? Which one rule are you going to start with today? Because that journey to a better life, it doesn't start someday. It starts with the very next choice you make.